Hi everybody. This is going to be a video on how I organize my Schoology. I'm going to be talking about unit folders, agendas, and some guided notes. So here is the agenda for today. Introduction, why it's important, what is our Schoology like, what are my agendas like, how to make guided notes, how to post the answer key to the notes, and the Schoology archive. So structure. Why is it important? Why is it important for us to have an organized Schoology? Giving structure to both students and parents is a really great way for them to be able to access the knowledge easily. It also helps you lesson plan easier every time. Like I said earlier, easy access, and it's a great way to organize all of your material. So, browsing Schoology. This is a picture of what I organize my Schoology like. So, I like to put a welcome folder with a lot of like routine documents. So, I teach chemistry. So, I like to include my periodic table in there, my tutoring sign up sheet, a copy of my syllabus, the student handbook, things like that they might be referencing throughout the whole year. Then I put folders by units. You can do this whichever way you like. For me, organizing by units is the easiest because then I'm editing everything from one unit at a time, which in my content is about 2.5 to 3 weeks per unit. You can also do it weekly and then edit your material as you go. Personally, I like every unit, but it's all the same and it's really customizable to whichever way you want. So, the first thing that I include inside my units folders is my agendas. And in my agendas, I like to include daily objectives, a schedule of what the unit will look like, any assignments that will be graded, the standards for those topics, and any essential questions. So on the right, you'll see an example of my agenda. So I like to start out by writing the dates that unit would take me, and then I like to put the lesson that I'm doing each day. So for me, on the ones where you see in parentheses pages 1 and 2, pages 3 and 4, and so on, that is referencing to their guided notes, which is their online journal that I will talk about in a future slide. The one that you see on the side, everything you see that says will be graded, those are in class assignments. So, a really good benefit of having these is not only are you organized and you've lesson planned for that entire unit, but parents and students can also see what are the upcoming assignments and what are they expected to do each day. It's come in handy for when students have absences that they're planning ahead of time. So they and their parents can check what they're going to be missing that day. If they miss on a day where we are doing notes, then I will show you further up ahead what they can do to make up those notes while they are away from the class. Now, the standards I grabbed from our Beyond textbooks. So if you go to your home page, you will click on whatever level you're at. So for me, that's high school, and you click on whatever topic content area you are. So I will click on chemistry, and this is where you see all the standards. You can click on the summary of standards. These are like full page standards that you can post in your whiteboard. This is where you can get the standards that I used. These are all the standards for quarter 1 and the standards for quarter 2 and so on. That's where I got the standards that you see on the corner here. And the essential questions I just wrote on my own. So I do have a template posted on the Schoology page of an agenda an agenda template, but basically it is just this. It just has the empty dates, and I put tentative schedule in case it's likely to change, and then it just says standards and essential questions. Okay, and then this is just a link to the BT page that I was just showing you earlier, so we'll move on. Now, this is a picture to represent me because when I started organizing my Schoology this way, and specifically my unit journals, is because it was COVID. So that was me on the left, and more than likely that was all of us on the left when all of our teaching had to change because we went to online learning. And now that I've done it this way for a few years, this is me on the right. And now I actually really enjoy doing it this way. And I think it's been really beneficial to my students. So, what are our unit journals like? So, here are two examples of what my unit journals are like. So, for whatever unit I want, I like to put my lessons that I'm doing that day. So here is, for example, Boyle's Law, and I like to do fill in the blanks. And then the kids are filling out all of the boxes as they're following along. So sometimes we do notes that they can type in on the computer. So, for example, this these notes were from a PowerPoint, so they were filling out from a PowerPoint. But then we get to some notes that are labs. So, for example, this one was a lab and they did it on the computer. They could have also taken a picture of it to post online, to post on there. So this student chose to type all these answers in. They also could write these on paper and upload a picture. So they're really customizable because they're able to take a picture if it's something that's a lot of work for them to type in. And if it's something that's really easy and better for them to just write, type in on their computer or write, you can choose whatever you want to do with that lesson. So this is one of the examples. I also like to include a unit review, and then I give the students a day to review that page. Here's this other one. So this one was a lot of calculation. So I had the students, we would do the first page together, and those were like our guided notes. And then the second page, they were doing examples, practicing independently. So these are all done on their own. So these are two of the ways that you can do them. You actually will see on these, you get to choose what you want those lessons to look like. So, for example, this page right here is a calculation type of page. So, I would have the students do this on a sheet of paper and then they would insert a picture. This page also could have been typed or on paper, whatever was better. These types of notes were from a PowerPoint that I was lecturing on. And the great benefit of that is that if there are any illustrations or diagrams or tables, you can put them for the students to reference. Whereas I couldn't have enough time in class for them to draw a picture of this in their notes if it was on paper. So instead, you can put everything in one place in that unit. This was also from their PowerPoint. This is something that they could choose to do it on paper or on typed. Um, I also like, because I have a science class, we also do labs. So, for example, in this unit, this right here was a lab. So, although it's in their journal, I like to print it. And so that's what their journal looked like. I just print it and then I replace the slide with the picture of their notes filled out. Um, so, yeah, these are some examples of how these can be done. Those are my blank journals and my examples of my filled out um, journals. So, how do you get started doing this? The very first thing you have to do is fill out your agenda. So, once you have your agenda, then you know what you need to teach every day. You plan out then what your lesson. So, your agenda is what objectives do the students need to accomplish, right? For your lessons, then this is you determining Are you going to deliver this lesson in the form of a lecture? Is it going to be a presentation? Is it going to be a lab, a worksheet? You get to find out what lessons you want for each of those topics that you've put on your agenda. After you have your lessons, then you put whatever the major topics were in your journal. So you can do a page for fill in the blanks from a PowerPoint. You can do pictures from a worksheet. You can do examples. This is your journal, okay? You're making all of those journals and every page. Once you're up to this point, then you move on to posting everything on Schoology. So you want to post your agenda, your journal, your presentations, and your key. So my Schoology looks like this. So you'll see, for example, in Unit 3, I've got my agenda so that everyone can see what we're doing each day and all of my objectives. Then I post my journal. Now, when you post your journal, you need to go to add material, add assignment, and then you have to click on Google Drive assignments. This is going to import anything from your drive. So once you have the assignment on your drive, you attach it in here and you name it whatever you want, and it'll look like this. When you do this, Schoology then creates a copy of that quote unquote assignment, which is your guided notes. And it makes a different copy for each student. So once the students open this link, they're not going to be editing your copy. They are going to edit the copy that they have made for themselves. So it'll look like this once they submit. That's what it looks like. And this is a really great way to keep everything organized. You don't have to collect any papers. Every single notes page is in there. If you wanted to, you can also click on File, Version History, and this will give you a summary of every edit that that student has done and every day that they have done those notes, whatever page was assigned. You can also see all of the people that submitted. Any people that have not submitted will be shown in the in progress. And then your different sections, if you have them linked on Schoology, you can also see them here. But everything is in one place and everything is together. Okay. Now, that is for you to post your unit journal. Here's another example of how I use my journal. So if we're doing notes that are easier on hand than they are typed, I would have the students write it down on a sheet of paper and I would download a PDF of my Google Slides journal and I write on that page along with the kids. So the journal that the kids fill out looks exactly like the one I'm filling out. You project your iPad to your Apple Play, to your Apple TV, and everything is changing live. So you're able to write on all of your PowerPoints, you're able to write on the presentations. It's also a really great way to engage the students because you're walking around and you're able to check their progress during that lesson. You can also give a student the iPad for them to write the answers on. So I could say, "Hi, Billy, work on question number 5 for us for with the class." And so it's a really great way to keep the students participating instead of being stuck at the front of the room. Um, you also can post these keys. So, for example, this metric system page that you see, if I wanted to post an answer key to this, I could just take a screenshot, or if you can see there on the line, all of those pages are filled out. I could just post all of these, this PDF that already has all the pages filled out. I can post that on Schoology. So if any kid missed a page, this is where they would get that information from. Now, this is how I normally post my documents. So inside the unit journal, the unit folders, you have all of these things. And I post a guided notes folder in there, which looks like this. So some of your lessons, of course, you have as PowerPoint. So these are PDFs of those PowerPoints. Some, however, are lessons that you're doing with them that are more like hands-on lessons. So all I do is I go into Khan Academy or anywhere on YouTube, any resource you like, and I find a lesson of those notes from that page, and that's the link that I'm posting on there. So all of the notes that the students take in class, here's the answer key of how they can make all of those up, right? um, Doing it this way is also really great for if a student is absent on my lesson on electron configuration on Monday, and then they come back on Tuesday where I'm giving the students an assignment on electron configuration, then I can have the student go through those notes or watch that video for the first 20 minutes of class or so, and then that means they're making up the work on their own in class, or ideally, they'll make up the work on their own at home before they come back. Um, so you're not stuck giving a whole lecture on this to the one student that was absent. This gives you the liberty to walk around and help the other students in the classroom that are working on the assignment and need help. Once the student catches up, then they can ask you for help while you're still there, while they're still in your class period. But these are accessible to them at any point. Um, so yeah, that is how I post all of my keys. So each one of these is actually the answer key to one of the pages that was in the journal for that unit. Okay, now here let's talk about the archive. The archive is all of your old Schoology courses from previous years. So, for example, if you go to courses on your Schoology and you click on the top right corner, you go to My Courses, you want to scroll to where it says Archived, and you want to go look for whatever section you want. So, this, for example, is my spring semester of 2023. So if I want to look at what was I doing at this time around, today is September 6th. So what was I doing September 6th of last year? Then you look for that course. So for me, that was this right here. So I already have all of my unit folders organized, and I have all of my resources here. So all I have to do when I'm lesson planning is let's say I'm clicking on this, I just have to go to the settings on the side, and I want to click on copy to courses, and you pick what course you want to move it over to, what folder do you want it to go to, and that is all. So when you go there, all of the materials that you chose to transfer over will already be there. So doing this and organizing your Schoology really well once will be really helpful, because every year since or from then, you can just sync material over from your archived course to your current course instead of making everything from scratch and posting every single one of these PowerPoints or videos from scratch. Um, the more organized you are that one time, the easier it is to do it the upcoming times. So, here is what we've done. We went over Schoology, we went over agendas, we talked about our journals, we talked about how to post the keys, and now is where we would have time in person for you to make your own. So, you can make your own starting by looking at your Beyond Textbook standards. Once you have your standards, you can create your agenda template. which looks like this. Once you have all of the days that you need for that unit, you can plan out what are you doing each day and add those to your guided notebook. And then that would be it. You would be done. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. Here's my contact information if you have any questions or if you need access to any of the templates, please let me know. I hope this was beneficial to you and that you are able to use resources like this in your classroom in the future. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.